What's up, friend? Hey, welcome to the Grow Your Video Business podcast. My name is Ryan Coral. I'm your host, and this show is for corporate and commercial filmmakers that want to grow an awesome video business that don't super love necessarily like the business side of things, but know that it's really important to focus on the business side of stuff. So the business of production, that's the thing I get most excited about and am passionate about. And that's why I started this show years ago. So I'm really happy this is your first time listening to or watching the show. Welcome to the chaos. No, but seriously, welcome. Glad that you're here. And if you're a long-time listener or watcher and you're back, welcome back. Here we go. This episode, I want to talk about the 5 things that have made our business achieve massively more than without those 5 things. This is coming off of the heels of an all-day meeting that we had yesterday with our leadership team. We practiced this thing called EOS. You may have heard me talk about this in previous episodes of the show. It's the Entrepreneurial Operating System, and it was I was introduced to it by a guy named Gino Wickman from a book that he had written called Traction. He's got another book called Rocket Fuel. I've mentioned those 2 books probably more than any other books, I think, on this show. Both had a profound impact on my business and ultimately on the life that I'm able to live because of the way that I'm running my business instead of my business running me. That was a goal that I had 18 years ago when I started my video business, was to not be controlled by my business and not be constantly living in reactionary mode to my business, but to really have control. I have seen over the years so many business owners that are always required inside of their business. They can't take extended vacations, or they can't take vacations at all. They always have their phone on them. They're always checking their email. They're just tied to their business, and that to me doesn't equate freedom. There is nothing that I want when I see people. I mean, friends and family that have those kinds of businesses or work in those kinds of environments. That is the last thing that I want. When I created my business, I wanted, number one, I was like, man, I could create videos for a living. People will pay me for that. That is amazing. But at the same time, also, I was like, well, I want to have flexibility in my schedule and be able to do the stuff that I want to do when I want to do it. That sounds amazing too, because really I was doing video. I was getting paid at the college that I was working at, and what I realized is that I hated having a boss. No. Really what I hated having was accountability. And I really just did not like having a boss. I had my first boss at the college was a mentor and definitely my favorite boss I've ever had. Larry Norman, shout out Lair Bear. He had just a huge impact on my life and helped instill in me a drive that for business that I never really saw growing up. So grateful to him, but also as my bosses changed over a couple of years working there, I was like, man, this is not for me. So anyway, I got into video and I'm so grateful. But here's the thing. If you have struggled with feeling owned by your business, or you're just starting out and you're just kind of you're doing all the things and you have to, I'm 18 years in, I still wear multiple hats. I don't wear nearly as many of the hats that I did early on. And today, I mean, really, I wear, there are probably 3 main hats that I wear. And I'm trying to take those hats off and be able to delegate as many parts of this business so it can run without me. So I could leave for 6 weeks and we would get new clients and we would close deals and we would shoot, edit, deliver. Our clients would be happy. The things in this business could happen without me. That's the kind of business that I'm trying to build. So that's the stuff that I like to talk about. If you're in a similar spot where you're like, man, I really want to have more business like processes and systems, things that can help bring freedom in your life, then I want to invite you to a free workshop that I have. It's called How to Consistently Earn Over $100,000 per year in Video Production while working less than 40 hours a week. That is my life, and as the business that I've built, I really, my schedule, I work at most like 2.5-ish days in the video production business, and I spend about a day and a half in the world of Studio Sherpas, and then probably another day on sort of ancillary things. Like what are ancillary? Like just the other things. But I've said it before. My goal next year is to, at the end of the first quarter, is to get back to just Monday through Thursday, so where I'm not working Fridays. And I'm going to try to split my time 50-50 between my production business and this education brand. So that's what I'm trying to do. But if you want, if you kind of want the layout of, Ryan, how did you do this? What have you implemented in your business after all of these years? Go get access to this workshop. It's a totally free workshop. It's studiosherpas.com/workshop. And I kind of go over like 3 main things that I've done and applied in my business. And it's not perfect, but holy cow, things are so much better today than they were when I first started. There was, it was very exciting when I first started, but when I look at, what I've built outside of my business, a family, I have a wife of almost 20 years. We have 3 kids. We live in this incredible community. So many friends. I just found out that I was just introduced to a new brother. There's a funny story there, but after 44 years of my life, not knowing that I had another brother from another mother, same dad, though. Really, really cool, fascinating story that I'll share on another episode. But I love my family and be able to spend time with them at my leisure. That's what I want. And so I invite you to check out this free workshop. Again, it's studiosherpas.com/workshop, and I think you'll like it. So back to this all-day workshop. We started at 8:30 a.m. yesterday. We ended at like 5:15 p.m. I got home. My wife had made dinner. I sat down. The kids were, I don't even know where they were. One was at dance. A couple were all over the place. But my wife and I were sitting next to each other, and I started eating. Like, I don't know, like maybe 5 minutes, my meal was almost gone, and she's like, "What's the matter?" She's like, "Are you mad at me?" I was like, "Huh? What?" We like the brain power that went into this meeting yesterday. It was intense. Like it took a lot. And, we had the same meeting about 3 months ago. It's very similar. It's just our quarterly meeting. It's for our leadership team. So there's 3 of us. And we talk about the most important things inside of the business. So anyway, it was just funny because I was like, "Oh, no, I'm not mad." I'm just like, I can't believe, I'm just like mentally exhausted from a full day of thinking about the business and making plans for the business. And so I think one of my biggest takeaways yesterday, it was like we were in the middle of the day. I think we were breaking for lunch, and I just had this moment of realizing, like, I can't imagine not doing what we're doing for a full day. I just can't imagine what my business would be like. Rewind 6 years ago. 6 years ago was when we started practicing EOS. And prior to that, we didn't have anything. We would do like a yearly retreat where, I'd bring the whole team. We would talk about what went well that year, what didn't go well, what are things that we want to do the next year. And it was just like a big brainstorm session. It was cool. Like, it was fun. But this is so different. We have a very the same. We do the same rhythm every time we do these quarterly meetings, and what we walk away with and the things that we tackle. I cannot imagine. We wouldn't be where we're at today if we didn't start those meetings 6 years ago. So another push for, if you haven't read Traction, you should really, really read it. No matter where you're at in your business, if you're just starting the longer you're in your business, the more something like Traction will make sense to you. But if you're early on, you might be like, I don't really need that. We're too small, or, things aren't out of control yet. 6 years ago, things were out of control. The story of my business, I had just lost 4 employees, and we were starting the year off with like our worst financial state ever. And I mean, it was chaos, but I didn't feel called out of the work. So I had to figure something out. And when I read that book, I was like, oh my gosh, I think this author wrote this book for me. And then that's when we had an EOS implementer, which is kind of like a consultant, come alongside us and help us dive into the material. So we weren't doing it on our own. That had a massive impact on our business. So I want to go over the 5 things, kind of the 5 main things that we go over in these all-day meetings, because you should be doing something like this. Again, this is all borrowed from EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System. I'm not going to do it a great justice for all that we went into, the details of the things that we went into yesterday. But at least my hope is to give you a sense of the things that we're going over that are making a huge difference in our business. So I will say this. We do these quarterly meetings. In January, we have a 2-day, we've never done a 2-day, if at most we've done a 1-day, but we're doing a 2-day all-day planning session. So, and this is going to be planning for the year. So normally we would plan for the year, but in this upcoming year, we're going to do 2 days of this. From these quarterly meetings, we're given very like tactical, like, okay, here's what the next 90 days, this is what your work needs to look like. So we all walk away, typically we all walk away with goals. We call them rocks in the world of EOS. So each one of us might have 1 goal or 2 goals. Yesterday, we left with 4 goals. The previous quarter, we had 5 goals. We almost ended with 3 goals yesterday, but we just spent a couple more minutes and realized that we could add 1 more. And we don't want to add too many. We really want to say, like, what can we achieve? And like, let's not think, way too big here. Let's just think realistically, what can we achieve? Which is hard for me because I'm a total dreamer. I'm like, oh, I want to do all the things. Let's do all the things. And I've learned that after 18 years, we can't do all the things, and that's fine. Okay. So we base our quarterly goals from our yearly goals, right? So each quarter we're working toward achieving our yearly goal. Without having yearly goals, and without having beyond yearly, we have our 3-year goals as well. Like, hey, in 2024, at the end of the year, what do we want to have accomplished? What do we want the business to look like? So these are a little bit more, further out there, but we can't get there without having our yearly goals, and then we can't achieve our yearly goals without our 90-day goals. And then my favorite part about this is we can't achieve our 90-day goals without breaking those up into what are the next 12 or 13 weeks? What are the tasks and activities that I need to be doing every single week, even if it's only 10 minutes each week, but I can do 12 or 13 10-minute tasks over the course of a quarter to achieve my quarterly goal. Broken down like that, I don't know if that sounds overwhelming, but what happened in the past is we'd say something like, oh, we want to launch our new website. That's our goal this year. And then we months would go by where we weren't really doing a lot of the work. And then we get closer to the end of the year, and it's like, holy cow, like we haven't even, we haven't even found a developer or designer. We don't even know what sites we like or what this is going to be based off of. And then we scramble, and then we may hit it, we may not, but it's like a mad rush. Doing things like we do now, it's like, okay, let's break this whole website thing down into chunks. What are the 4 milestones over the course of a year that we want to achieve? And then what are the 12 or 13 mini tasks, 1 task per week for that quarter that you can do? And it's like, it's either done or it's not done. It's not like, oh, I feel like it's done. I feel like we can get on to the next thing. It's like, it's easy to measure. Like, did you do this thing? Yes or no? It's not a feeling. And so like getting away from feelings when it comes to like creating our plan and saying like, we need to know, is this thing complete or not? And it's an easy like yes or no. And if it's not, then the way that we're defining the task or the goal needs to be readjusted. So it's like, is this thing done? Did we achieve this thing? Not like, I feel like we did. No. It's done. Like the new website is up. Like that's what we said. We wanted it to be live, and sure, we're going to make tweaks and whatever beyond that. But like, is it live? That's what the goal was for the year. Did we achieve it? Yes or no? So with that context, let me jump into the flow of what we did yesterday. So again, I'm going to kind of skip like all of the nitty gritty here and just talk about 5 things. The first thing that we did, the first big thing that we did is we talked about the previous 90 days. What were the goals that we had? Who was responsible for them? So one person is responsible for each goal that you come up with or that we come up with. And did we complete it? If so, great. If not, why not? And I will say this, that out of the 5 goals that we had, only 2 of them were completed. And we looked at the quarter before in the same thing. We had 5 goals and only 2 of them were completed. So my goal was to sell $2,500 in a new digital product for the Tell Studios production brand. It was kind of like, okay, well, Ryan, do you have any insight? And it's not to get people in trouble. It's really just say like, what did you learn? Like, is there anything to take away from you not achieving this? Is there something that could have been done differently? And so for me, it was like, I wanted to sell $2,500 in digital product so that we can create some passive revenue for our production business. I'd had a workshop. I did a live workshop for a real estate friend of ours. And then we sold a, kind of like how to do video on your own if you're a real estate agent, with your iPhone course. It was like this mini course. And we sold $1,500. So in my mind, that was a win because our 3-year goal is to be at like 15 or 20% of our total revenue would be on passive income things. And the only way that we're going to get there is by having sold one, right? So I did the workshop. Workshop went great. The sales pitch and the positioning of it wasn't good. I could have done better, but I had a really busy, and this is what I'm explaining to the team, and my team knows this, our EOS implementer, Jason, who's also my best friend, but we also pay him a lot of money to implement for us. He doesn't know all the ins and outs of why I didn't achieve this goal. So I'm just kind of explaining like, well, I did that, like the last month of work has been insane. I've traveled, I spoke at a couple of things. I've been very busy this quarter, and I was assuming that I would have been further along in the process, and I didn't realize I should have made more time for the sales pitch for this actual product that we sold. So it was a win in a sense. I was frustrated at myself that I didn't make a little bit more time ahead of time to plan out the sales pitch. So that was a good takeaway. And without us examining those things, the things that we didn't achieve, it's like, well, what did you learn, right? And that's the whole point: is what did we learn, whether we did them or we didn't. And then like one of the questions that we're able to ask ourselves is like, okay, if we didn't complete it, is it worth completing this quarter? Is it still relevant? And do we need to change up anything if it is one of those that didn't get done? Like what do we change to make it so that it is something that we can accomplish? So that whether you're doing yearly goals or quarterly or whatever, to be able to look at what the goal was and what you accomplished or what you didn't, very, very important. It's similar to when our team goes out and does a production. I'm always on them like, guys, make sure that you're talking to each other after the shoot. What went well? Ask each other, what went well on the shoot? What didn't go well? And was there anything missing, or was there anything confused about the shoot? And then Same thing when we edit a project or when we deliver a project. And same thing with our clients. Like those are the conversations that we want to have with our clients. What went well with the project? So we can debrief and learn so that we can be better in the future. That's the whole point, is so that we can be better in the future. So we can show up for ourselves, our team, our clients, and be better. We can only learn the best way for us to learn is through our mistakes. And then when we're doing things well and doing things right, man, like how do we leverage that, and how do we keep, what do we need to do to do more of that? The second thing that we did is we revisit our yearly goals and our 3-year goal. And we really, I mean, at this point in the year, we're in the last quarter, and our meeting rhythm isn't totally in line with the traditional yearly quarters, months or whatever. So regardless, we met yesterday, November 1st. Yes. And we want to look at our yearly goals. At this point, we're probably not changing our yearly goals, but first quarter, we'll set out our yearly goals. Second quarter, we're looking, so halfway into the year, that's the last opportunity that we should have to change or pivot our yearly goals. So we look at our yearly goal and we look at our 3-year goals, and we just make sure that we're in alignment and in agreement that these are still the goals that we want to go after. Because to spend quarter upon quarter or year upon year chasing something or going after something, or creating the foundation and all of the things toward something that 2 years in, we're not excited about, or that's not the direction of the business, or, it just doesn't make sense anymore, or people aren't buying that thing anymore. So we need to change. Re-looking at your bigger goals it's essential. And if you don't have those goals to begin with, man, you really need them. I think even as you're starting, I think you need to create some goals that are SMART, right? SMART acronym. It's specific. Make sure that your goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relatable. Just kidding. It's not relatable. Ryan and timely. I forget what R is. But if you can create goals in that context, not we want to win 3 Emmys this year, and it's your first month into running your business. Number one, is that actually going to help drive revenue? I don't know. Maybe not. That's a cool vanity thing. But if it's not going to help your business be sustainable, maybe that's not a great one. And then also can you actually achieve that? You're just starting out. Can you win an Emmy right now? I mean, some people probably can, but it's oh no, we want to sell $1 million of business and get into a massive studio. It's year one, a 1-year goal. That just seems a little. Maybe a little too much. So, but having more realistic goals of man, I want to land 2 new clients a month, and okay, I think that's a good goal, and 2 clients at $5,000 a piece. Okay, yeah, those are achievable. Okay, well, how are you going to do that? And that's when you're going to start breaking down. First step, I've got 12 weeks to figure out how I'm going to do that this year, or at least this quarter, to move closer to getting to that spot where we've got what we need to be able to, or what we think we need to be able to land these clients. So super essential to have yearly goals. I love, we even have a 10-year, I think we call it our 10-year target. It's this is what business can look like and feel like in 10 years. These are some of the things that we envision. So then when we're making our 3-year, kind of dreaming what 3 years looks like, we're basing it off of our 10-year, right? You start with the end in mind. That's such a smart philosophy. I think is that Covey? Stephen Covey came up with that. Start with the end in mind. And that's all we're trying to do here. We're starting with 10-year. Okay, what does dream life look like? Dream business look like? And 3-year, okay, these are the things that if we're going to get to 10 years, we probably need to have these in place 3 years. And this would be sweet if we were here in 3 years. And then 1 year, what does it look like at the end of 1 year that really could get us closer to that 3-year mark. So do some goals, do some goals, create some goals for you, for your business. And if you have a team, like, do these together. Number 3, we went over our core values. We went over our focus, and we went over our market strategy. And these are, we didn't add anything. We didn't change our core values. We're like, yeah, these are still our core values, but we're just like looking at them and saying, like, do these still make sense? Is this still who we are? Has anything changed? And then our focus and in our market strategy, our focus, like, our niche. If we spent some time like, hey, let's refine the niche thing. We actually had 3 niches that we were like, hey, this is who we're targeting. And a couple of weeks ago in a session, we were chatting with this agency. We realized, like, this number 3 in our list of niches, our target audience, like, that's not really a target audience of ours right now. It's more like they'll find us, and if they hire us, cool. But, like, we're not going to create content. We're not going to go to events necessarily to pitch to those people. We want to spend more time with these other groups. So we spent time re-looking at our focus, who we're reaching out to, and then from there, our marketing strategy. Without having a strategy, it's just like the effort that you put into your business marketing it's just a massive waste of time. So if you can't think, okay, here's who I might be selling to, here's who I want to sell to, this is why they need video typically, try to put some flesh around those things. Because once you do, then you can say, like, oh man, you know what? We could create a free resource. We could make a little video or a downloadable PDF that could help that specific market. Like, man, we love real estate agents. So, and a lot of those people are they're going live on YouTube. I'm making this up right now. I don't know. Are they going live on YouTube? But their videos are terrible. So why don't I just make a free resource that's like, 3 ways to make your real estate videos look even better, and create that resource. Now, what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to download that, apply that, and be like, sweet, my videos look better. Awesome. Other people are going to be like, oh man, I don't even shoot my stuff. I've been hiring somebody to do this for me, but now I'm seeing, like, I need to tell my videographer these things. But you know what? I would prefer working with an expert, the person who's telling me how I should be doing these videos, because look at the videos that they're showing us. They're an expert. I should have a conversation with them. So having somebody come to you already thinking that you're the expert, man, do you know how easy that sales call becomes when they're like, man, thank you. We downloaded your thing. We tried it, and we just realized we don't want to do these on our own. We want to hire an expert, and you've taught us so much. So what does it look like to work with you? That is a lot different than creating a resource that's like, 3 ways to make your YouTube videos look better. And who are you talking to? Just anybody who wants their YouTube videos to look better. Okay, right. But like, when somebody reads that title, man, if it said like real estate agents, how for real estate agents, or how real estate agents can make their YouTube videos look better or something like that. Like, a real estate agent's like, oh, okay, this is for me. But if it's just like generic and like very just not specific, that's what generic means, in case you're wondering. If it's not specific, it's like, oh, okay. But when somebody calls your name, you hear them. If you're in a crowded room of a bunch of people and you hear people talking, whatever, it's like you're not really paying attention, whatever. But as soon as you hear your name, whether or not they're calling you, you look, right? It gets your attention. And this is the same thing here. We're in a crowded marketplace of people trying to get everybody's attention so they can sell their widget. But as soon as you can be specific and you can call somebody's name or their industry or address a very specific problem that that person might have, you are winning there. So that's why we talk about, okay, what's our market strategy? Like who are we going after? How are we doing it? What are the things that we're saying? How are we positioning this so that any social media we create, any time that we spend online is very strategic? It's coming from that place versus we just need to get our name out there. No, you're gonna be frustrated. And if that's your mindset right now, like we just need to get our name out there. Tell me how happy you are with the results that you're getting in the marketing that you're doing. I'm going to guess that you're going to be like, not really happy about it. And that's the key reason. So us going through that yesterday, refreshed it. We added added a couple of layers into our whole, like, here's who we're targeting. Here's how we can help them. It was really, really good. The fourth thing is that we set new rocks, right? We spent time, we looked at rocks from last year. We looked at our goal for the end of the year. We said, okay, well, this is the goal. This is like, we've got 90-day sprints. It's less than 90 days to the end of the year, but we're not meeting. We're meeting again for our next EOS meeting. January 24th is the first day of our all-day meeting. So we said, okay, by January 24th, these are the goals. These are the rocks, the things that we need to have done by January 24th. So we walked away with 4 new rocks, and we're really excited about those. I think we spent almost 2 hours, which was a little bit long to spend on creating these rocks. But this is part of my point here. We spent 2 hours going back and forth over what are the right rocks. We wrote down, we had a whole list of things that were like, man, this would be cool. And then we whittled that list down, and then we all voted on the list, and then we prioritized the list. And then we got done, and then we're like, Jason said, hey, is there anything else? And one of us was like, you know what, actually, what about this 4th one? I don't know if this is a good idea. I actually threw this out there. I'm like, I don't know if this is a good idea, but I'm just sort of feeling this. And the rest of the team was like, oh yeah, that should totally be another goal. But my whole thinking is like, when was the last time I spent 2 hours thinking about what our goals for this quarter should be? And then when's the last time you did that with somebody else? Where like you had some guidance, you had some pushback, you had buy-in. 2 hours. And then think about like an entire day of all of these like big picture things where it's the point is not like, oh, Ryan, you're the boss. Like, just tell us what you want. I'm there just as an employee like everybody else. So I typically try to answer the questions last, like when we're going over like, well, what do you want? What do you think our goals should be? I typically try to go last so that people aren't being influenced by like, oh yeah, what Ryan said, that's great. I usually have pretty good ideas, but I want everybody to have buy-in to our mission because I've told this to them, like, my goal is to like not be needed in this business. So the only way for me to not be needed is for you guys to be totally bought in to the whole thing here, and for you guys to be, creating our goals or at least being a part of that creation process. All right. We set our goals, set our new rocks, and we were very clear, like when we create these rocks, you're very clear, like what does done look like? That's how we're labeling these. And one of my rocks is to reach out to 30 of our past clients with a simple video email, right? I'm going to shoot a video and send them a link. And I think I'll use Loom probably for that. But I'm going to offer a strategy session to all of our past clients, not all of them, the hand select ones, so 30 of them, and say, hey, I would love to hop on a call or have a meeting, do a lunch and learn. I can come to you or you guys can come to our studio, and would love to just start looking at what does your strategy for next year look like, and I will do my best to brainstorm any videos that I think will support what your guys' goals are for next year. that's my rock, is to send 30 of those out. I told the team, I'm like, I'm going to do that by next week. And they're like, let's just put it on the list. If you get this done, you've got other things that you can do. But like, let's put this on, because this is a big deal, right? If you guys want to move the needle with revenue and set yourself up with more retainer clients next year, we've landed on this being the thing that is going to be able to create lots of video opportunities for your clients. So Ryan, this is the biggest, most important thing for you to do the next 90 days. So that was my rock. And I'm really excited about it. Number 5, the last thing that we did is called IDS. Issue, discuss, solve. This practice, we do it every single week in our leadership meeting. The leadership meeting is called Level 10. In this meeting, we go over a handful of things, but then we end the meeting. I think we slate 65 minutes to go over IDS items. So in the past, in our old studio, there were 5 of us in a big office, and all of our desks faced the wall. And I would have a bright idea at like 10 a.m., spin my chair around and say to the group, hey, what do you think about, or I'd say to like John, what do you think about if we, created a bunch of t-shirts and gave them away as part of our marketing strategy? And he'd be like, oh, I don't know, that's pretty cool. And then like somebody else working next to John would like turn around too, because they're like, well, what's the commotion here? And then they'd be like, yeah, I think that's a good idea. Even though I was asking John, but why do you think it's a good idea? And then before you know it, like all 5 of us are engaged in this topic for 15 minutes. This person was editing before. This person was, sending a client an email and creating a proposal. Like, so I interrupted everybody's day. This happened to me multiple times a day. I always have an ideas. I always want to share it. I always want to get feedback, input, whatever. And so I was the worst at interrupting everybody. Now, if I think of an idea, or let's say an employee is coming in consistently late, I can address that right then and there, or I can say, you know what, this isn't urgent, so I'm going to add this to our IDS list. So I have this little to-do app. I type the thing in, I tag it with IDS, and then it goes into a spot that when we meet on our Monday meetings for Level 10, and we get to the IDS section of our meeting, all of the things that I thought of for the last 7 days are in that IDS thing. Then we prioritize them. Okay, Ryan, you've got a couple IDS. Angela, you've got one. Mike, okay, what's the most important? Guys, if we just completed one today, which one is it? So we prioritize it. Then we start with one. And the deal is you solve it in that meeting. So you don't leave that meeting until there is either a next step or it's completely solved. We started doing that 6 years ago in our business. I've never gotten so many things done in my business since doing that. This is like the biggest game changer of our business, is having dedicated time to go over issues, ideas, things that just like pop up. It is a focused time for us to plow through as many. And if we don't get through them all like that week, then they get pushed to the next week. If there's a few weeks that go by that some of the items are still in there, it's like, is this worth us like going over this quarter? If not, like, let's push it off. And when we meet with our EOS implementer, we'll look at them again in that meeting, because we've got a full day. And then at that point, if it's not worth, figuring out, then we'll just like can it, or we'll drop it in and actually get it done. So yesterday we spent, 2 hours going through our issues, discussing them amongst each other, and solving them. We prioritized this huge list. I think we had like 25 things on this list, and some of them were really big. And we were able to get through all of them. No, that's a lie. I don't know why I said that. I lost my train of thought. I'm like, hey, we were able to get through like the most important ones. The ones that we didn't get through, we put a place, we either deleted them, or we said, you know what, let's put this in our weekly IDS and we'll tackle this within the, either next week or the week after. And so leaving feeling like, okay, like the most important things for this business got discussed today. We have a plan. So today I'm taking one step closer to achieving my 90-day goals. And the team is reflecting and saying like, okay, so here's what some of my work needs to look like this quarter, right? Everybody has their regular job, the things that they're supposed to do every day, every week, every month, every year. But then there's the okay, well, if we want to achieve this other thing, like a new website or 5 new retainer clients at $20,000, $50,000, these are things that we need, that we want, that we desire for the business, because we have this idea in 3 years that this is what the business looks like. We're able to choose our work versus anybody that calls us having to do that work. So what are the extra things that we need to do above and beyond our day-to-day activities so that we can achieve our 1-year goals and our 3-year goals and our 10-year dream state for the business? So that's it. Those are the 5 things. Really impactful. I don't know if you can tell I'm fired up, but I am. And here's the thing: not everybody can afford an EOS implementer, and not everybody wants to do EOS. It's not for everybody. For me, I feel like it has been a total game changer. I would recommend reading the book Traction. EOS implementers, I've seen them charge as little as $2,500 per quarter, like per session, per full day session. If you're in the market and you're like, man, I am interested, I'm happy to connect you with my friend Jason. But if you just go to usworldwide.com, I think it is, they have implementers that are probably in your area. Jason travels all over and does sessions all over the US. But it's worth at least doing, depending on where you're at in your business. And if you read the book Traction, it's worth considering doing a 90-minute session with an implementer. It's free, and you get to get a sense of how your business could benefit from EOS. It's a really good thing to have an outsider to be able to come into the business that doesn't have. They have your best interest in mind, but like Jason, even though he's my best friend, I said to him before we hired him, because we had a different implementer before who ended up getting out of implementing. And when Jason started his business, I was like, would it be weird if we hired you to do this? And he's like, it's not going to be weird for me. And he's a total straight shooter. And I know he's definitely for my business, the success of it. But he's also not afraid to tell me the truth. And that's what I need. So I've benefited a lot from having outsiders come into our business. We do our week-to-week meetings with just our team, and that's great. But having the quarterly rhythm has been so healthy for our business. Another thing to consider, we're launching in January, we're launching a whole new mastermind group. And that is a great space to be able to bring issues to. Ideas, like things in your business. In the mastermind meetings, we have hot seats where individuals will get 15 or 30 minutes to share their biggest frustration or the thing that they're just trying. Man, I really want a cold email outreach strategy. What are you guys doing? What's working for you? Or we keep running into this issue with this employee. What should we do? Having a group of people that will speak the truth, that have your best interest in mind, share their own experience. So it's not like me teaching things. It's like, I'm facilitating. I'm obviously chipping in, but getting access to a bunch of different people. So consider the mastermind. We're accepting applications right now for the mastermind. You need to apply, and then there is a monthly financial commitment, and then we're meeting I think the first and third weeks of the month on a Thursday. So if that sounds interesting, you can go to studiosherpas.com/mastermind and learn more about the mastermind. And then I'm also launching at the beginning of 2023 a coaching community. And in this coaching community, I'm going to have monthly master classes. I'm also going to have office hours. So I will be available. And then we'll have a forum that is not Facebook. We're going to take this private community into a different community software so that people can interact with each other, ask each other questions. We'll have challenges and all sorts of other things inside of that. So there will be content, there will be coaching from me, and there will be community, which I think is just the best thing. And a little different than the free community that we have, which I think the free community is amazing. But inside of that coaching community, you're going to get more access to me. I am going to open up for office hours or co-working or whatever the heck we're going to call it. If you're interested in that, you can go to studiosherpas.com/cc. and just join the wait list. We'll share information as it becomes available to get inside and become a founding member for that coaching community, which I'm really excited to do that. As much as I love the free community, I just don't have that much time to be able to spend inside of that group, but to be able to create ongoing masterclass content. I've got probably 40 or more ideas of monthly lessons and things that I want to release to help you, things that we're doing that are working, that I just haven't found a place to be able to do that in the rhythm of how the Studio Sherpas business is set up. So again, studiosherpas.com/cc for coaching community. And I think that's it. Let me know what you think of this episode. Any big takeaways? Do you think that you might consider EOS? Is that for you? Or what about the rhythm of these like quarterly meetings? Do you already do that? And if so, how is that working for you and for your business? Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Hopefully there wasn't like too much stuff. I know I feel like, I'm just like, here's 8 hours of our, intense meeting yesterday. Hopefully this is helpful and you can apply some of these things and start doing them inside of your own business. Feel free to reach out to me if you need anything. My email is ryan@studiosherpas.com. And otherwise, leave a comment, look us up, follow us, subscribe, notification bell. Just kidding. I mean, not like totally kidding, but mostly kidding. Appreciate you. Grateful you're here, and have an amazing rest of your day. I'll see you on the next episode. Goodbye.